Back with another video. I wanted to make this video on it can go in different ways, but I really just want to make a video based on why we shouldn't ghost people and why you should practice not ghosting. And this can be in any single of sort of situation. I've seen ghosting not just in dating, but I've seen ghosting on a professional level. Um, where, say for instance, you possibly have like a job interview or something like that, and you know, you'll have such a great interview with somebody and things of that, and they're smiling in your face and they're making you feel like you got the job, but they don't call you or they don't even give you any feedback, on you know, if you did get it or if you didn't. And my thing is this, right? Now, some of you guys might say, like, oh, uh, you're too sensitive or things like that. And that's okay. But the thing is this, right? Uh, Ghosting in any practice, you have to understand that ghosting in itself is a energy manipulation. And when I say that it is an energy manipulation, you have to realize that this is a dark practice. Now, I'm not saying that this is this is dark arts, or if you ever watched Harry Potter, and they have the dark arts class, I consider this is basically dark arts. This is dark energy manipulation, ghosting. Now, I'll say this with ghosting. Ghosting, I would say, ghosting in itself is not bad, because there are times where you have to ghost somebody, um, and there's been times that I had to ghost people because they were not listening to my boundaries. But this is when I'm talking about that, maybe you're talking to somebody and you're not giving them any like, it's like this is what I'm basically saying. You'll probably be talking to somebody, and then you literally out of nowhere just cut off communication. Like, there was really no reason for you to cut off communication. You just cut it off. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because you have to realize what ghosting does to the other party, right? It leaves them in this lingering mindset. And depending on what kind of mindset um, lingers within them, it can actually come back onto you. And people don't really realize this. This is why it's very important to practice forms of communication. You have to learn how to use your voice. I don't know how many times I've been in such situations. I may have been afraid, but I always opened my mouth, even if I had to kind of release myself from a certain party. Even when it came to jobs, I always made sure I wouldn't even call, unless it's like a certain situation. But like if I had a boss or something like that, and I knew I was leaving the job, I would come face to face with my boss and tell them this is what's happening and I'm leaving. Now, depending on you have to realize that, of course, there are certain situations, like I said before, where the other party, and they're not somebody that you can really talk with. So you cut off communication because you're basically using it as a form of boundaries. And that's when I say that ghosting in itself is not bad, but I would say it's the intentions behind the ghosting that is bad. Because, like I said, you have to understand that we're dealing with human beings. It's not like we're dealing with random people, right? Every human has energy inside of them. So when you're mistreating somebody or you're ghosting somebody and you probably really hurt them very badly, you have to understand that whatever they're thinking about in their mind about you is going to come back onto you, and it reflects around your world, right? This is why it's important to leave people better than what you found them. It's very important because this is how you build yourself up. They won't teach you this, but you have to realize that, and I learned this by learning business, right? This is what business is. It's not about the money, it's about the people, right? Because when you create a great experience within a person, they're always remembering you as something in their mind as good or as something of high honor. So that energy is always coming back to you, you know? And this is why you want to treat people very, very well. And sometimes I'm not going to lie, it's not always going to work that way. Sometimes you have to, treat people the other way around because they're a little bit rough around the edges. And there's no other way but to deal with them in that manner. But you have to realize that emotions are contagious. They are very contagious. Um, and this is why I say ghosting, you have to be very careful of why you ghost somebody. And usually if, like, say for instance, if you ghost somebody because of boundaries, to be honest, they know why. They already know why. So it's not like that energy is going to come onto you, because the only reason why they're trying to get to you is to get your good energy. So they're already thinking of you in a high regards. And these are usually energy vampires. So they already know that you're something tasty and good and delicious. So it doesn't matter if you put up if you ghost them. But the thing is, one thing I've noticed with energy, you have to even be careful of these energy vampires that you ghost. And you have to actually kind of, in some way, this is why they talk about the technique of using gray rocking with energy vampires. Because the thing is that some with these type of individuals, you want to, I've learned from myself, you kind of want to be careful of what energy you're feeding them, right? Because if you're a high vibrational person and you're feeding them very tasty good energy, um their mental energy could linger around you. And this is where people get scared and they start going like, oh, somebody's doing black magic or something, like a certain dark magic on them. And they go to these practitioners. And I have my own spiel on that. I'm not even gonna get into that, but I would be very careful in these sorts of areas. Instead of that, I would tell people to learn how to practice energy within your own mental mind, as it's a muscle. So you can use, whether it is people who use energy manipulation, you can use it as a mental workout to strengthen your own mind, to strengthen your own brain, to block and kind of reflect these energies somewhere else. But you have to understand that, like, this is why, in some way, I want people to know this, because a lot of people use it in dating, and they're always like, yeah, I mean, like, I ghosted this girl, and she's gonna be chasing me. And I'm just like, bro, you don't know what you're doing. I mean, if that's what you want to do, so be it. But especially playing with a woman's mind, women's mind are 10. I truly believe a woman's mind and how it works is not something you want to play with, because a woman's mind, people don't really realize in the spiritual realm, that is like they're bench pressing in the spiritual realm, women. And I can get into that, but like us men in the physical realm, we use our body to show off strength. But there are women in the spiritual realm, in the mental realm, they're bench pressing like 400. Like that's why you see some women in there a certain type of way, because and you're calling them crazy, but a lot of them are bench pressing uh, a, a lot of mental weight. Like they're benching mental weight. And if you want that mental weight to be placed on you, do as you please. But I laugh sometimes at these dudes because I'm just like, bro, like you're gonna learn eventually. You know what I mean? And I mean, if you want to play with it, cool. That's you. But I hope you just know what you're doing. So just remember that emotions are contagious. Be careful where you place your emotions into people, so their emotions don't come back to you. And make sure you're keeping your boundaries up. And when you become more observant, you can see everybody has kind of like a prototype. Anybody that I meet, and as you get older, you start to see that some people just have a certain type of prototype. And you know what you can do, what you can handle, and who you have to keep kind of at a distance, and who you can mingle with. So this is food for thought. Hope it helps you. Peace.